Are you doing all right, dear? I look up. Margaret, my elderly neighbor, stands beside me. Everyone calls her Maggie. She's the only person who came today. The only person at my 9-year-old son's funeral. The casket is too small. That's all I can think as they lower Nathan into the ground. My brain keeps whispering this single fact. My son's final resting place is far too small. My hands won't stop trembling. I've tried pressing them against my black dress. I've tried gripping them together until my knuckles turn white. I've even shoved them into my pockets. Nothing works. The tears flow endlessly. Silent rivers down my cheeks that I no longer bother wiping away. With each mechanical whir of the pulley system lowering his casket, my stomach knots. My knees threaten to buckle beneath me. The cemetery worker nods at me. He's waiting for some signal that I'm ready for this moment. I'll never be ready. Maggie's weathered hand rests slightly on my arm. Her eyes are full of genuine concern. For 18 months, she brought homemade meals to our house. When I was too exhausted from hospital visits to cook, she sat with Nathan when I needed to shower or sleep. She never once treated his illness as an inconvenience. They didn't come, I whisper, the words barely audible. Not one of them. My parents, who should be standing beside me. My sister Isabel, who promised she'd always be there for us. Jenna, my best friend since 3rd grade. She held my hand through my divorce, but she couldn't be bothered to show up today. I pull out my phone. A reflexive gesture I immediately regret. Isabel's Instagram feed loads automatically. Photos of her engagement party at the Grand Horizon Hotel flood my screen. Happening right now. At this exact moment. There she is. Champagne glass raised. Diamond glittering. Our parents beaming beside her. The timestamp shows it was posted 20 minutes ago, while I was listening to the minister speak words that couldn't possibly capture who Nathan was. 2:47 p.m. The exact moment Nathan's casket was being lowered into the ground. My family didn't come to my son's funeral. They were at my sister's engagement party instead. While I was watching Nathan's casket being lowered into the ground, they were raising champagne glasses. The timestamp on the Instagram post, 2:47 p.m., the exact moment I was saying goodbye to my child. The next morning, they asked for his trust fund. I said no. They call me cold, unstable, heartless. Am I the asshole? 8 months ago, the doctors finally named the monster stealing my son's strength. Rare blood disorder, they said, as if labeling it might make it less terrifying. Nathan took the news better than I did. His small face was serious, but determined as the doctor explained the treatments. Will it hurt? He asked. His voice was steady. Sometimes, the doctor answered honestly, but we'll do everything we can to help. He never complained through 8 months of needles, transfusions, medications with names I could barely pronounce. Even when his small body was ravaged by fevers that left him shaking beneath hospital blankets, he'd look up at me with those eyes so much like his father's. I'm okay, Mom, he'd say. Don't worry. I can't stop remembering Nathan's laugh. The real one, before the illness. When it would bubble up from somewhere deep and uncontrolled. How he'd declare at 7 years old that he was going to become a doctor. To fix kids like me someday. The way he'd insist on wearing his superhero pajamas to chemo treatments. Because superheroes are brave, even when they're scared. That boy loved you more than anything in this world. Maggie says quietly. I nod. I remember how Marcus, my ex-husband, had set up an $850,000 college trust fund for Nathan before his company transferred him overseas. If anything ever happens, he'd said, you're the residual beneficiary. I know you'll honor his memory. He couldn't have known how soon those words would matter. Part of me wants to call my parents, to scream until my voice gives out. How could they choose Isabel's engagement party over their grandson's funeral? Another part feels too numb to feel anything at all. I've spent 18 months fighting for my son's life, sleeping in hospital chairs, memorizing medical terminology, advocating when doctors dismissed symptoms. Now there's nothing left to fight for. My phone buzzes. A text message. My mother's name appears on the screen. We need to talk. Bring the trust documents tomorrow. I stare at the message, reading it twice to make sure I understand. They didn't come to Nathan's funeral, but they're interested in his trust fund. Something cold and analytical cuts through my grief for the first time today. Something doesn't add up. I type back. I'm burying my son today. I can't talk about paperwork right now. Her response comes immediately. Don't be dramatic, Harper. This is important for the whole family. The whole family. The same family that couldn't spare 2 hours to say goodbye to Nathan. The reality of what's happening begins to crystallize. This isn't just about money. It's about the last thing I have from my son. His legacy. The future he'll never have. I realize with sudden clarity that I'm alone in this fight. My parents, Isabel, even Jenna, they're united, coordinating. While I'm vulnerable and isolated in my grief, what have they been planning? For how long? Maggie notices my distress. What is it? I show her my mother's message. I watch her face harden as she reads it. Oh dear, she says softly. They can't possibly think. I turn off my phone completely. Whatever they want, it can wait. This moment belongs to Nathan. I won't let them take that from me too. Maggie places a gentle hand on my shoulder. You're not alone, dear. I'm here. The cemetery worker approaches hesitantly. I'm sorry, but we need to finish the service. I look at Nathan's casket, suspended above the open earth. Am I supposed to walk away now? Leave him here alone? My body feels frozen, unable to take that first step away. Maggie steps forward. Give her a moment, please. She's saying goodbye to her boy. The worker nods. He steps back, respecting the boundary Maggie has created. I reach into my pocket. I pull out Nathan's favorite action figure, the one he insisted on keeping with him through every hospital stay. I kneel beside the grave. I place it gently on top of his casket. I'll protect what's yours, I promise. I whisper. I promise. Maggie whispers quietly beside me. A grave holds more than bones. It holds the truth. I look up at her. A grave holds the truth. Here, at Nathan's grave, it's already becoming clear who truly loved him. As I stand, something shifts inside me. Through the fog of grief, a small spark ignites. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I know one thing with absolute certainty. They will not take my son's legacy without a fight. The morning after the funeral dawns gray and drizzly. It matches my mood as I drive to my parents' colonial-style home in Oakwood Heights. I grip the steering wheel too tightly, my knuckles whitening with each mile closer to their house. My throat constricts at the thought of seeing them. After yesterday, after they chose Isabel's engagement party over their own grandson's funeral, I park behind a familiar silver BMW. Jenna's car. Of course, she's here too. The front door opens before I reach it. My father stands in the entryway. His face is a practiced mask of paternal concern, but it doesn't reach his eyes. Harper, come in. We've been waiting. The living room feels like a boardroom. Isabel sits primly on the cream sofa, legs crossed at the ankle, her blonde hair swept into a perfect chignon. Jenna perches beside her, studying her manicure with sudden fascination when I enter. My mother stands by the mantel, one hand resting on a framed family photo. We're all smiling. A performance for the camera. No one mentions Nathan. No one says they're sorry. In this room, yesterday might as well have never happened. My father doesn't waste time. He walks to the mahogany coffee table. A folder lies open there. Papers arranged in neat stacks, like a corporate buyout agreement. We need to reallocate the trust with Isabel as trustee, he announces, sliding a document toward me. Sign here and here. I don't reach for the pen. What are you talking about? Isabel uncrosses her legs. She leans forward. Her movements are fluid, graceful, rehearsed. Harper, be realistic. You've been under extreme stress for the past 18 months. You can't manage $850,000 in that state. Her voice is practiced, smooth. We're worried about you, my mother adds. This is for your own good, Harper. For your own good. The words echo in the room. Yesterday, while Nathan's casket was being lowered into the ground, they were drinking champagne. But now, they're worried about me. Surface layer. I sit quietly. My face shows no expression. My hands rest calmly in my lap. Deep layer. My heart is racing. Is this really happening? It's been less than 24 hours since my son was lowered into the ground. And they're asking me to sign papers? It's Nathan's trust fund. I say slowly. It was established for his future. Exactly, Isabel says, which is why it needs to be properly managed, with rational judgment, not emotional decisions. Emotional decisions, as if mourning my son's death is irrational. I can manage it, I say. Really? My mother's voice has an edge. You quit your job. You have almost no social connections. You were at the hospital constantly. You completely abandoned your own life. I was fighting for my son's life. And now that fight is over. My father says coldly. Face reality, Harper. You lack the judgment for financial decisions. Isabel has a fiancé, a stable income. She's the best choice to manage this. Jenna speaks up. For the first time, she meets my eyes. Harper, we all love you. But you've become a bit unstable. Since Nathan died. Unstable. I'm unstable. The people who didn't come to my son's funeral are calling me unstable. Yesterday, none of you came. I say quietly. Silence. Heavy, long silence. Then Isabel sighs. Perfectly calculated. Harper, my engagement party was planned months in advance. The venue, the catering, everything was booked. Hundreds of people were coming. I couldn't cancel. She pauses. Nathan would have understood. He was always such a rational child. Rational child. She calls that 9-year-old boy who smiled through losing his hair to chemotherapy rational. Besides, my mother adds, funerals are just formalities. What really matters is keeping them in your heart. We all kept Nathan in our hearts. In their hearts. While raising champagne glasses. While diamonds glittered. Reality begins to distort before my eyes. I stand up. I won't sign. My father's face hardens. Harper, sit down. I won't sign. I repeat. Nathan's trust fund is his legacy. And I am the beneficiary Marcus designated. Marcus is overseas. Isabel says sharply. He has no say. And he's not even your husband anymore. But he created legal documents. And I am the trustee. My mother stands. Her voice turns ice cold. If you won't cooperate, we have other options, Harper. What do you mean? We can pursue legal action based on mental incapacity, my father says. You've clearly lost your judgment. The court will recognize that. A threat. They're threatening me. The day after my son's funeral, I walk out of the room without another word. Behind me, I hear my mother's voice. She's too stubborn. She always has been. Then Isabel's voice. It's okay, Mom. She'll sign eventually. She has no choice. I close the door. I get in my car. I start the engine. But I don't drive. My hands tremble on the steering wheel. Tears stream down my cheeks. They're serious. They really are trying to take Nathan's legacy. And they're justifying it by calling me unstable. That night, the phone calls begin. First, my mother. Harper, you are emotional today. But if you think calmly, you'll see our proposal makes sense. I hang up. 10 minutes later, Isabel. Sis, it's ridiculous for family to fight. Nathan wouldn't want this. I hang up. 30 minutes later, Jenna. Harper, everyone's worried about you. You've really been acting strange lately. Maybe you should talk to someone. I hang up. The next day, my aunt calls. An aunt I haven't spoken to in years. Harper dear, your mother told me. Please do the right thing for the family. I hang up. My cousin calls. A former colleague calls. A neighbor calls. They've contacted everyone. Harper has lost her judgment from grief. The family is trying to help, but she's refusing. Nathan's legacy will be wasted. On the third night, I turn off my smartphone, but the landline keeps ringing. The doorbell rings. I look through the peephole. Isabel is standing there. I don't open the door. Harper, open up. Let's talk. Her voice echoes through the front door. We're family. How can you be so cold? I go to my bedroom. I close the door. I cover my face with a pillow, but I can still hear her voice. That night, I can't sleep. I sit outside Nathan's bedroom door. I don't have the courage to go inside. His bed, his toys, his drawings. Everything is still there, but he isn't. Suddenly, a memory flashes back. Flashback. 6 months ago, in the hospital, Nathan is receiving an IV, a needle in his small hand. It doesn't hurt, Mom. I'm used to it now. He smiles at me. Hey, Mom. If I'm not here someday, stay strong, okay? Don't talk like that, Nathan. You're going to get better. But just in case, he grips my hand. You're a strong person, Mom. I know you are. I come back from the flashback. I'm crying. You told me to be strong, Nathan. I whisper. But how? How do I become strong? The next morning, Maggie knocks on my door. I open it. She says nothing, just hands me a container of warm soup. Maggie, You don't have to say anything, she says gently. May I come in? We sit at the kitchen table. Maggie makes tea. For the first time, I speak my truth. They're trying to take everything from me. They didn't even come to Nathan's funeral. And now they want his legacy. Maggie listens quietly. Am I wrong? They're family. Should I trust them? Maggie sets down her teacup. Harper, let me ask you something. Where were they for the past 18 months? I fall silent. When Nathan was suffering in the hospital, how many times did they visit? I close my eyes. My mother came 3 times. Each visit under 30 minutes. I can't stand the hospital smell, she said. Isabel came twice. Both times to take photos and post on Instagram. Brave nephew fighting #prayers needed. Jenna came 5 times. But always brief visits between work. Maggie, on the other hand, visited 158 times. They may be family, Maggie says. But family isn't defined by blood alone. She takes my hand. You're doing the right thing, Harper. Protecting Nathan's legacy. That's a mother's final duty. For the first time, I feel someone affirming me, but they're threatening legal action. Then fight. Maggie says quietly, but firmly, you're not alone. I'm here. That afternoon, my phone rings. An unknown number. Hello? Is this Harper Reynolds? A man's voice. Calm. Yes. My name is David Morrison. I'm an attorney. Margaret contacted me. Do you have time to talk? I take a deep breath. Yes, please. That night, I pick up Nathan's action figure for the first time in a while. The superhero figure. The one he never let go of. I'm going to fight Nathan. I whisper. Because you told me to be strong. David's office is small but orderly. Law degrees line the walls. The bookshelf is packed with case law volumes. He's mid-40s. Wearing glasses. Calm but with sharp eyes. First, let me say this. He begins, spreading out documents. What your family is claiming is legally very weak. I lean forward. What do you mean? David pulls out a copy of the trust agreement. This document Marcus created is very clear. You are designated as the trustee. And importantly, Marcus included a clause. Unless Harper is mentally or physically incapacitated. He points to a page. The definition of incapacity requires medical proof. The mere opinion of family members is insufficient. But they're threatening to petition the court. They can file. David nods. But to win, they need to present medical evidence. Do you have a psychiatric diagnosis? Hospitalization records? Evidence of self-harm? No, nothing. Then their claim is hollow. David starts taking notes. But we can't be complacent. They'll try to fabricate something. Fabricate? Testimony. David explains. They'll have family, friends, acquaintances testify. Harper appeared unstable. She couldn't make rational decisions. But that's a lie. In court, persuasiveness sometimes matters more than truth, David says. That's why we need to prepare. He opens his laptop. Document your daily life. Who you talk to. What you do. The reasoning behind every decision. These will be evidence that you're acting rationally. And let's gather witnesses. Margaret is clearly on your side. Anyone else? I think. Nathan's primary doctor. The nurses. They know how dedicated I was. Excellent. David writes it down. Testimony from medical professionals is very powerful. One more important thing. David says with a serious expression. They will contradict themselves. They'll claim good intentions. But their actions will betray that. I look at him. We simply show those contradictions. Quietly. A week later, a formal notice arrives. Petition for removal of trust management authority based on mental incapacity. I contact David. As expected, he says calmly, send me a copy. I read the document aloud. The petitioner is in a state of extreme mental distress and cannot make rational decisions. The petitioner is isolated from society and exhibiting dangerous behavioral patterns. Under the petitioner's management, there is risk of improper use of trust assets. For the welfare of the entire family, transfer of management authority is necessary. The welfare of the entire family, I repeat. They actually wrote that? Yes, David says. And that's where their contradictions begin. A few days later, something surprising happens. A letter arrives from Isabel's fiancé, Tyler. It's brief. Harper, I'll be honest. I've broken off my engagement with Isabel. I couldn't accept the way she talked about the trust. If needed, I'll testify to this. I show it to David. Is this important? Very, David says. Testimony from inside contradicts their narrative of family unity. As expected, a week later, Another letter arrives from my mother. For a fair resolution, we request that Harper undergo evaluation by an independent psychiatrist. I show it to David. Can I refuse? You can, he says. But that gives them ammunition. They can claim, Harper refused evaluation. She must have something to hide. So I should do it. Yes. But with a psychiatrist I choose. Dr. Sarah Miller's office is quiet and calming. She's in her 50s. Kind expression, but professional atmosphere. Harper, I'm going to ask you some questions today. This isn't an evaluation. It's a conversation. A 2-hour session. She asks about my sleep patterns, my eating habits, my daily activities, about Nathan's illness, his death, my relationship with my family. I answer everything honestly. A week later, Dr. Miller's report arrives. David calls me. Perfect, he says quietly. He reads from the report. The subject demonstrates remarkable psychological resilience despite extreme stress and grief. Her judgment is fully intact, and she has the capacity to make complex decisions. Her behavior is completely normal and appropriate for a mother who has lost a beloved child. This undermines the foundation of their claim, David says. But that night, something unexpected happens. I run into Jenna at the supermarket. When she sees me, she hesitates for a moment, then approaches. Harper, can we talk? We move to a corner of the parking lot. Listen, your mother. She asked me to testify. My heart pounds. Testify to what? Jenna looks away. That you were unstable. That when Nathan was sick, you were too forceful with doctors. That you were making irrational decisions. That's a lie. I know, Jenna whispers. But your mother is very persuasive, and she seems to really believe it's for your own good. I look into her eyes. Jenna, do you really believe that? Silence. I don't know, but everyone keeps saying you're unstable. When I get home, Maggie is waiting, looking worried. What's wrong? You look pale. I tell her about the conversation with Jenna. Maggie's face hardens. They're creating a narrative. What should I do? Maggie grabs my shoulders. Keep speaking the truth. Contradictions will reveal themselves. 2 weeks later, my mother suddenly appears at my house. Right after Maggie has just left. Harper, we need to talk. Her voice is gentler than it's ever been. Wary, I open the door. My mother enters the living room. She sits on the sofa. Harper, we may have been wrong. I stay silent. You were right. We should have gone to Nathan's funeral. Tears well up in her eyes. I've regretted it every day since. Not saying goodbye to my grandson. I sit down. Why now? I want to repair our relationship. My mother says, let's forget about the lawsuit. Family is more important. Surface layer. I sit quietly. I listen to my mother's words. Deep layer. What is this? She's planning something. Forget about the lawsuit? I repeat. Yes, my mother nods. You can manage it. We were wrong. She tries to take my hand. But I have one small request. Here it comes. What? Could you add Isabel as co-trustee? It must be hard to do alone. Managing it with your sister would lighten your burden. Co-trustee. In other words, giving Isabel access to the trust. Let me think about it, I say. Of course. My mother smiles. But don't wait too long. The trial will be painful for both sides. She stands. If you agree, we'll drop the lawsuit. Let's start fresh as a family. Drop the lawsuit. Meaning if I don't agree to the co-trustee arrangement, the lawsuit continues. This is a deal. After my mother leaves, I call David. My mother visited me. I explain the conversation. David listens quietly. Classic tactic. He finally says, alternating pressure and reconciliation. What should I do? Do nothing. The hearing is in 2 weeks. That night, I feel I've reached my limit. Exhaustion has seeped into my bones. The grief of losing Nathan. The battle with my family. A life of constant vigilance. Constant defense. I look at Nathan's photo. Him in superhero pajamas, smiling. I might not make it, Nathan. I whisper, but in that moment, another memory surfaces. Flashback. 3 months ago, in the hospital, Nathan was having a particularly bad day. He was crying from nausea and pain. I don't want this anymore. I don't want to fight. I held him. I know, Nathan. But you're a warrior. Do warriors get tired sometimes? Of course. But not giving up even when you're tired. That's true strength. Nathan looked up at me. You too, Mom? Me too. I come back from the flashback. I make my decision. Don't give up, even when tired. That's what Nathan taught me. The next morning, I call David. I'll keep fighting. I was waiting for that resolve, he says. The hearing is in 2 weeks. Let's begin preparing. The morning of the hearing, I put on a black suit. I look at myself in the mirror. There are signs of exhaustion under my eyes. But in my eyes, there's something new. Determination. 18 months ago, when Nathan was diagnosed, I was a mother crushed by fear. Now, what am I? Still a mother, but a different kind of mother. A mother who no longer begs. A mother who no longer expects. Maggie picks me up in her car. Are you ready? I don't know, I answer honestly. But I'm going. In the car, Maggie says, remember, Harper, the truth is on your side. Then she quietly adds, a grave holds more than bones. It holds the truth. I look out the window. A grave holds the truth. At Nathan's grave, it became clear who truly loved him. Today in court, another truth will be revealed. When I enter the courtroom, they're all there. My father, mother, Isabel, and Jenna. They look at me. There's certainty in their gaze. Isabel is wearing a new suit, perfectly tailored. My mother's hair has just been done at the salon. I sit next to David. He organizes his documents while whispering, are you ready? I nod. Remember, don't get emotional. The judge enters. Judge Morrison, a woman in her 60s, known for being strict but fair. We will begin the hearing on the petition for removal of trust management authority. She looks at the documents. Petitioners, you may begin. My father's attorney, Gerald Hoffman, stands. Your Honor, the respondent Harper Reynolds cannot make rational decisions due to extreme grief. He submits documents. She has isolated herself from society and lost economic stability. The family tried to support her, but she rejected them. The judge receives the documents. Who is your witness? The first witness is the petitioner's mother, Patricia Reynolds. My mother takes the witness stand. She's wearing a black dress, mourning clothes. After being sworn in, Hoffman begins questioning. Mrs. Reynolds, tell us about your relationship with Harper. Harper is my eldest daughter. My mother says in a trembling voice. And Nathan was my grandson. How did Nathan's death affect Harper? My mother takes a deep breath. Harper changed. After Nathan got sick, she quit her job. She cut off contact with friends. We were worried. What about after Nathan passed? We became even more worried. She rejected us. Even when we offered to help with the trust. How did you offer to help? We suggested that her sister Isabel co-manage it, to lighten Harper's burden. How did Harper react? She was furious. Since then, she refuses to talk to us. David stands. Mrs. Reynolds, I'd like to cross-examine. My mother braces herself. Did you attend your grandson Nathan's funeral? Silence. The courtroom falls completely quiet. No. My mother finally says, in a small voice. Why not? There was my daughter's engagement party. It had been planned for months. David presents evidence. This is a post from Isabel Reynolds' Instagram account. An image appears on the screen. Isabel raising a champagne glass. My parents standing beside her, smiling. And in the corner of the screen, a timestamp, 2:47 p.m. Mrs. Reynolds. This photo was posted at 2:47 p.m. Nathan's funeral was from 2 to 3 p.m. My mother looks at the screen. Her face goes pale. So when this photo was taken, Nathan's casket was being lowered into the ground. Silence. David presents the next piece of evidence. This is a text message Mrs. Reynolds sent to Harper the day after the funeral. The message appears on screen. We need to talk. Bring the trust documents tomorrow. David reads it aloud. The day after the funeral. The day after Harper buried her son. You demanded she sign documents worth $850,000. My mother can't speak. If you truly thought your daughter was fragile and lacked judgment, why did you ask her to make such an important decision the very next day? My mother's mouth opens, but no words come out. David pulls out another document. This is the trust reallocation proposal you attach to the petition. He points to a page. This clause states, Harper will lose all say in the use of the trust. All decisions will be made solely by Isabel. The judge leans forward. This is a clause that completely excludes the original beneficiary. That's correct, David says. I have no further questions. David returns to his seat. Next, Jenna takes the witness stand. Ms. Carter, during the 18 months Nathan was hospitalized, how many times did you visit? Jenna hesitates. About 5 times, I think. David pulls out a document. According to hospital visitor records, it was exactly 5 times. Total visit time was about 3 hours. He pauses. Meanwhile, a neighbor named Margaret Thompson visited 158 times. Jenna's face flushes. Did you attend Nathan's funeral? Jenna lowers her eyes. No. Did you attend Isabel's engagement party? Silence. Yes, Jenna whispers. Finally, David submits Tyler's letter as evidence. This is a sworn statement from Tyler Bennett, Isabel Reynolds' former fiancé. The judge receives it. He states that he broke off the engagement because Isabel was planning to use the trust for personal gain. The courtroom murmurs. Isabel covers her face. David presents the final evidence. Your Honor, this is a psychiatric evaluation by Dr. Sarah Miller. She concludes that Harper is fully capable and her judgment is not impaired. Additionally, this is a letter from Nathan's primary physician, Dr. James Park. He states that Harper was an exemplary mother. The judge reads the documents for a long time. Then she raises her face. This petition is denied. The judge continues. The petitioners claim the respondent is mentally incapable, but the evidence submitted shows the opposite. She gathers the documents. Harper Reynolds is confirmed as the sole trustee of the $850,000 trust. Furthermore, I am issuing a restraining order against the petitioners. They are prohibited from coming within 1,000 feet. The gavel strikes. Court is adjourned. When I leave the courtroom, the hallway is quiet. David places a hand on my shoulder. It's over. I nod, but I can't find words. Maggie hugs me. You did well. Down the hallway, my mother leans against the wall. Isabel is talking with my father. Jenna stands alone. She won't meet anyone's eyes. My mother looks at me. For a moment, our eyes meet. What do I see in her eyes? Regret? Anger? Or does she still not understand? I feel nothing. No sympathy. No anger. No sadness. Just emptiness. My mother walks toward me. David tries to step forward, but I stop him. My mother stops in front of me. Harper. Her voice is hoarse. I say nothing. I just look at her. My mother tries to speak, but no words come. I walk away. Behind me, I hear my mother's voice. Harper. But I don't look back. A few weeks later, David brings documents. The restraining order is now officially enforced, he says. The trust is completely locked down as well. No one, no matter what, can touch it. The local newspaper runs a story. Mother wins trust battle. The article is fairly written. It states only the facts. Oakwood Heights is a small community. Word spreads. A few days later, Isabel's broken engagement is officially announced. Isabel leaves town. Jenna loses her job. Her employer learned about her court testimony. One day, the doorbell rings. I look through the peephole. An elderly couple is standing there. Marcus's parents, Thomas and Catherine. I open the door. Harper, Catherine says, may we come in? In the living room, we sit facing each other. Thomas speaks first. We heard about the trial. Marcus contacted us. How? He's overseas. We contacted him, Catherine says. When we heard what your family was trying to do, we thought Marcus should know. She takes my hand. Harper, thank you for fighting for Nathan. It was a mother's duty. No, Thomas says. It was more than that. Catherine takes an envelope from her bag. This is a letter from Marcus. I open the envelope. Dear Harper, my parents told me what you've been through. I'm deeply moved by your strength. Nathan was fortunate to have a mother like you. How you use the trust is completely your decision. But if you're interested, I have a suggestion. What about creating a foundation in Nathan's name to help other families fighting the same battle? I trust you'll do it right. Sincerely, Marcus. I set down the letter. A foundation. Don't you think it's a wonderful idea? Catherine says, Nathan's legacy helping to save other children. I look out the window. What would Nathan say? I'm going to be a doctor to fix kids like me someday. I can almost hear his voice. I'll do it, I say. I'll create Nathan's Legacy Foundation. 6 months later, I stand in the pediatric blood disorder unit, the place where Nathan spent so many hours. The walls are brighter now, painted with scenes of sea creatures. Next to the nurses' station, there's a plaque, Nathan Reynolds Memorial Wing. A young nurse approaches us. I'm Emily Harrison, the first Nathan Reynolds scholar. She extends her hand. Thank you so much for the opportunity to specialize in pediatric hematology. Nathan would be thrilled, I say, and I realize I'm smiling, not the type. Painful smile of someone holding back tears. A genuine smile. The foundation is making such a difference, Emily says. We've already helped 8 families. Nathan's Legacy Foundation now supports families facing the same battles we fought. Expenses insurance won't cover. Emergency housing near hospitals. Funding for specialized training for pediatric nurses. Maggie works as volunteer coordinator. She organizes a network of people who provide meals, transportation, and childcare for families with hospitalized children. David handles all legal matters pro bono. Thomas and Catherine have become heads of the family support program. One day, a year later, on the anniversary of Nathan's death, I visit his grave. The weather is clear. The sun is warm. I place fresh flowers, white roses. I trace the letters on his headstone. Nathan James Reynolds, beloved son. Excuse me. I hear a voice. I turn to see a woman holding a little girl's hand. The girl is about 7. Her hair is short, but her eyes are bright. Are you Harper Reynolds? Yes. I'm Lauren Bennett. This is my daughter, Sophie. Tears well up in Lauren's eyes. Sophie was diagnosed last year with the same disease. The specialist funded by your scholarship program found a new treatment. She pulls her daughter close. It worked. Sophie is in remission now. Your son's legacy saved my daughter's life. Sophie steps forward. She holds out her small hand. And it is an origami crane. This is for you. Thank you for helping me. I take the crane. Handmade. Filled with love. You're very welcome, Sophie. My voice trembles. Stay well. Before Sophie walks away, she turns back. Nathan must have been a kind person. I nod. He was very kind. That's why you're kind too. A few months later, one morning, I'm sitting on a bench outside Nathan Reynolds Memorial Wing. Every Tuesday, I come here. I drink my morning coffee. I watch a new day begin. The warmth of the coffee cup spreads into my palms. Steam rises, dissolving into the morning air. Birds are singing. Spring is coming. From the ward windows, I hear children's laughter. I can see Emily talking with a small patient. I take a sip of coffee. I breathe deeply. Maggie comes out of the ward. Good morning. She sits beside me. You're early today. I like this bench, I say. From here, I can see everything. Maggie says quietly, a grave holds more than bones. It holds the truth. And the truth isn't only in graves. She points to the ward. The truth is here too. In these voices of laughter. In this hope. I look at the ward. There, Nathan's photo is displayed. In superhero pajamas. Smiling at the camera. I stand up. Time to go? Maggie asks. Yes. I have a board meeting today. I start walking. The morning sun warms my back. A new day. But this time, I'm not alone. Sometimes, the deepest betrayal brings the most powerful transformation. I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm living. A life that honors all the courage Nathan taught me. If you're fighting to protect what matters most, remember this. You are not alone. The truth will always reveal itself. And quiet strength is more powerful than any loud voice. Until next time, stay strong, quietly, but unwaveringly.